Hey, Melanin fam, it's your girl Shelby,
And I'm Erica.
and welcome to another episode of All Things Melanin TV. So today, we are talking about something that has plagued a lot of us, and we don't have enough time. But we're gonna try to keep it cute. We're gonna try to keep it short. We're gonna try to keep it honest. Today, we're going to chat about navigating modern dating as a Black woman in her 30s. Okay, so on a serious note, because dating is not funny, but dating has been really interesting for me in my 30s. I think that dating in general has been interesting. I think growing up, I thought that dating was going to be a little easier than it was, but I feel like as I've navigated dating even if you think back to like when you're in high school, when you're in college, in your 20s and your 30s, like at every stage that I've dated at, it's been totally different.
Yes.
And I feel like the things that I wanted then are completely different from the things that I want and I need and I expect now. One thing I will say is that like every dating experience I've ever had, I feel like has made me be more clear on what I want, what I need, and what I deserve. And I try to walk away from situations thinking about, okay, like what could I have done better? What did I learn? Now, some people I wish I had crashed out on just one good time, but I didn't because the Lord is working on me. But I think that I have had to refrain the way that I see dating, as somebody in her 20s, in her 30s. I'm sorry. But anyway, so with all that said, what has been your experience so far when dating?
Y'all, do we have the time? I'm gonna keep it cute. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought I'd be married by now. That I'd be out this dating scene, but I'm not. I will say last year I didn't even try. I just gave myself a whole. Don't even. No. We're not talking. We're not doing any of it. And that was the wrong headspace to be in. But I mean, obviously, I needed to just be to myself. Because when I think about it, I had like my first boyfriend at like 19. So this has been several years of just disappointment. Like I'm in my 30s, like I'm tired. But I will say that sometimes you do need that break. Just to be with yourself, and that's how you are able to figure out what it is that you want now and then. So from the year that I just took off without even trying, wasn't trying to talk to nobody, wasn't trying to none of it. I really wrote down like my expectations when it just comes to dating and what I want. Like I'm when it comes to dating, I want someone who dates intentionally. I'm not looking for a homie. Just let's just kick it and see where it goes. Like I'm just not interested in that.
Right.
And so before I might have just done that. Like, okay, like let's just go for let's see. No, I'm not doing that now. And so for me, my experiences, I've had a lot of emotional trauma and pain. And so I think for anyone who can relate to that, you have to take the time to heal by yourself. Like I'm not really a multi dater anyway. Like it's probably, people probably think this is a dangerous game. I want to talk to one person. I don't have the capacity to talk to 3 and 4 dudes at a time. Like that's just, I don't, I can barely stay in group chats like that. So I would want one person who is intentional, and that's what I would want now. And so one big thing about my experiences before is taking those lessons learned, even though my feelings were hurt or my heart was broken, like what are the signs or the red flags or the things that I can recognize in the future when I do begin to date again seriously. Like I can recognize now some of the things that I looked past or some of the things that I said was my standard. And then just because I like the person, it's like I laxed my standards. And where did that leave me? Nowhere. So I would say that has been my experience so far. I do want to get out there and find someone who wants to intentionally date, someone that's ready. A lot of my experience, they haven't been ready. Even if they say they're ready, they're not financially stable enough to even take on a relationship or something like that. So that would be my experience. What about you?
My experience is interesting. Yeah, I think that's the best way that I can explain it. So, when I just back up a little bit. So when I graduated college, I started working. That's how I'm an medic. You know, if you didn't know, now you know. And when I met Erica, we became friends, and then I was working my first corporate job. Also, while I was working my first corporate job, I was going to grad school. I went to grad school. It took me about 2 to 2.5 years. And so during that time period, I did not date anybody. I did not want to date. I was not interested in dating. Don't look over here. Don't ask me. And I didn't date. I took that time off because I had a couple of men that were not worth my time, but it didn't work out in college. And I feel like I needed to heal and evolve, but also find who I was. And I'm so glad that I did that. I feel like I needed to that. And people be like, "Oh, why aren't you dating?" And what? No, 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 no. But I also felt like I wasn't ready, and I'm one of those people that like if my heart isn't in it and I'm not in it, then I don't want to waste anybody's time because I wouldn't want them to waste my time. And so after I got my degree, I got my master's degree. I started to dibble dabble in dating, and so from then up until now, I have been dating people on and off. Some people I have dated um, through social media that I've met on social media, but I knew somebody that knew them, y'all, and I took all the safety precautions just so we're clear. I have used dating apps and I've met people and I've dated. And then some people that I've just known organically and we tried it and it um I think for me, with my experience with dating, I am a recovering people pleaser. And so a lot of times I would go along with what somebody else wanted me to do, what somebody else wanted me to think. But I'm telling you, it's something about hitting 30 or those late 20s where you be like, I ain't got time for
I ain't got
this ish. And so I started to get really, really honest because I was like, I learned like from my experience, I was like, being a people pleaser is not working for me. It got me nowhere. I'm not happy. You're not happy. We still not together. And so I think with my experience, every time I leveled up in my way of thinking and I leveled up in like what I wanted my experience to be. And
yeah.
I am the type of person that I hate confrontation. I will avoid it at all costs. But I've had to learn and refine my mind that it's not a confrontation if I'm speaking my mind and I say it in a respectful way. And if you make it a confrontation, you're probably insane. Um, and so lately my experience, even though it hasn't worked out and I've had to get a few people together with my words, I still think that overall my experience has been cool. It's been good. I think that one thing that I've been practicing going forward and in the past few years is being really honest, open, and transparent about what I want, what I need, and what I expect. If you got me messed up, I'm gonna bring it up. If you got an issue, I'm gonna bring it up. If I have an issue, I'm gonna bring it up. If I have an expectation, I'm going to bring it up because I would rather be honest and it not work out than to not be honest and to think that you can play with me or not be honest and not get what I want. I know that relationships are a give and take, but I've found with dating that it has the best policy has been honesty and transparency and being honest about what I want and what I need. And because I have been leading with dating in that aspect, I feel like it has been a better experience for me. Also, I think it's really important to put yourself out there. I can be a socially awkward person. Like if I don't know people, in my opinion, even though people tell me I'm not, I just feel socially awkward because it is hard and it is scary to put yourself out there when you don't know somebody's intentions or you
Yeah.
don't know somebody. I was telling my mom the other day, like I understand why people just like get with people they know because they're gonna, you know, you know what you're gonna get. And
Hmm.
so I commend anybody that is putting themselves out there and that is trying and that is dating. Um, but yeah, that's kind of been what my experience has been, friend. I think overall it's been good. Has not resulted in me my man yet, but it's on the way.
Yes. So, what do your standards and expectations look like now versus in the past?
It's real strict around here.
Yeah.
But you know what? In all seriousness, I had this thought the other day, friend. And to your point, so my standards and my expectations look totally different now versus, when I was younger. But before I say that, there is something that like is on my spirit to share. You will always be too much for people who want to give you the bare minimum or do the bare minimum. Period. But you will always be just enough for the person who treats you and who treats you like you deserve to be treated and does what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
My standards, so back to the question. So they're completely different now. I feel like when I was younger, I was really focused on like a lot of physical things,
Mhm.
and I was really focused on like what somebody could do for me. I was really focused on just a lot of stuff that does not matter. And I feel like when you're really materialistic like that, or you're just really going off somebody's looks or all that stuff, whew, it is hard to make it work. It's like talking to a wall, like talking to a potato. It's not gonna work out. And I just feel like also back then I just didn't really know how to navigate having a healthy relationship. I didn't really navigate I didn't know how to navigate like expressing my feelings and my emotions and what I want. So I let a lot of stuff go under the rug and just kind of went with they wanted. I think also when I was younger, particularly like in high school and college, I centered men a lot. And I realized in college, oh no, we can't do that. And so I just feel like my expectations and my standards, they just didn't really make sense for the type of person that I wanted and the type of life that I want to live. I think now they're completely different. Like obviously I want somebody that's like so fun and attractive to me. I'm talking about 90 son. If you know him, contact me. If you don't, don't. Um, but I think now, like obviously you want somebody that's attractive and that looks good and all that stuff because I think my baby be cute. Um, but also now, like a lot of the things that are on my list, because yes, I have a list. Me and the Lord talk about it. A lot of the things that are on there now, friends, are like things that like money can't buy. Things that like have to be in them. Like
Mhm.
they can't pretend this. Like it has
Mhm.
to be in them. So they have to do with their character. They have to do with their morals. It has to do with their values. It has
Yeah.
to do with their faith. It has to do with how they treat me, how they interact with me. It has to do with how they think, how they move, how they see our life progressing. Um, so I think that my standards and expectations are totally different now. I think now I am not afraid to say what I want, and if you walk away and I scare you away from what I want, you were never for me,
Never.
never for me. And I think that we need to be. I think, and all of these things are realistic. You know what I mean? I think we got. I think we have to have the conversation about being realistic, but I do not think that there's anything wrong with being honest and upfront with what you want and what you need and what you expect because men expect us to keep ourselves up. They expect us to look nice, to do all of these things. So why can't
Mhm.
we have expectations for them? And I think it's really important to have an open line of communication. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, at least it opens you up to having a conversation and trying um and talking.
Yes. I think that's what I'm learning now with like standards and expectations. I'm very clear on my standards. I'm very clear on my expectations now that are realistic.
Hmm.
And I'm standing 10 toes down on
You
it.
have to.
And because of my past experiences where I've had experienced a lot of just pain, I realized that number one is just recognizing where those standards have shifted and
Hmm.
where those expectations have shifted. You made a great point about it's not only about how the person looks or what kind of job they have. Da, da, da. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, how do they treat you as a person? And so for me, I've in the past, I've always been focused on how I'm treating that person
Right.
and not really focused on how they treating me. And so on top of that, now what I'm doing with my expectations and standards is I'm literally praying over or praying for the person who God intends for me to be with.
Yeah.
I don't even know this person, but I'm intentionally praying for them in whatever area of life. I don't even know them, but it's just like being intentional about asking God, who should I move forward with this person? Who is this person to me?
Yeah.
And I've done that before, and I'm like, God, if he's not for me, don't allow him to pursue me. And it's been situations where they can't pursue me, and I'm like, okay, God, I see. Like it's kind of hurtful because
Right.
I'll be real. Sometimes I'll get sad that I've been to so many weddings, y'all, engagement parties, bridal showers, baby showers, and people that are close to me. I'm like, God, are you coming down my street anytime soon? And I hear nothing. So it does get a little discouraging in that front. But then at the same time, it's like I have to be grateful that I'm asking God about these people or this person And if it doesn't work out, that's not the person. And I have to
Yeah.
be okay with that because I don't want to go 20 years down the line and that was never the person that God intended for me to be with. And then have
Right.
a more heap of trouble than I ever did in the beginning. So my standards and expectations, I'm very clear on it. I'm very proud of myself for sticking to that. Let me tell you something. Having standards will have your phone dry.
Listen.
Having expectations will have your phone dry. And that
Mhm.
is okay.
It is.
Like you gotta if you can't enjoy yourself, ain't nobody else gonna enjoy you. And
Right.
you're not gonna have peace with anyone else if you don't have peace with yourself. If you cannot sit with yourself and be a single woman and live your life to the fullest, if you're waiting on a man to go to that country or go to that concert, don't do that. Go with your friends. Go with someone else. Like you don't have to go by yourself to a show or whatever you're wishing to go to.
Yeah.
Don't ever wait for that point in your life. And so that's what I would say. But
I love that.
the last thing is how do you stay hopeful in today's dating culture?
That's such a good question for him because I feel like it is so easy to get discouraged when dating. I think it's so easy to like want what someone else has. A couple of things because y'all know I'm about to rant it. I'm about to ramble at the end of this. My mom always told me don't envy what somebody else has because you don't know what they do or what they deal with when they go in their house and they close their doors.
That part.
So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is like I have to I think another thing that keeps me hopeful is, and this part has to do with me, is that like I know what type of person I am. I know what I want. I know what I deserve, and I know that me and God have been talking about it. I've been praying about it. I've been believing. I've been thanking God in advance for it, and so I've had to keep a positive mindset about dating. Like when I think it's so easy when things like you said, Erica, like when things don't go work out, I get sad. I'm like, what's wrong with me or what is it? But I also had to refrain my mind from thinking that like if this was supposed to be my person, then this would have worked out. But
Hmm.
because this wasn't my person, it did not
Hmm.
work out. Another thing to note is that like when things don't work out, you don't even know what God blocked you.
Exactly.
There are some things that I don't know what God has blocked me from that I will never know. But there are some things that God has blocked me from that I found out later that I was like, whoa,
Hmm.
you knew God I would have crashed out. You knew it would have been a
Hmm.
thing and you took care of me even though I couldn't see it. So I really have had to refrain the way that I think about dating. And so I continue to get out. I continue to do things that bring me joy. I continue to travel, go to concerts, do whatever I want. Like I don't think that like you should wait on a man to do anything. When my man meet me, he gonna meet me doing things.
Exactly.
He gonna have to come along the way because we ain't stopping, baby. We speeding up. And so I think that you have to reframe the way that you think about dating and being hopeful in dating. Like if you like, for instance, like if you say like, "Oh, I'm never gonna meet anybody. Oh,
Hmm.
nobody wants me." You're not
Hmm.
because you don't even think that
Yes.
you deserve a person. You don't
Yes.
even think that it's capable. I'll tell you a story. I know somebody that they were starting in a new industry, and so they had to go get training. And so when they were getting training and they were staying in this hotel, the person that worked, they ended up meeting somebody that worked at the hotel. I think that they were like an office manager or something. Anyway, they ended up hitting it off. Today they are married, and today they had a baby. If that person had never changed jobs, had
Hmm.
never went to get training, he would have never met his wife and is
Hmm.
living happily ever after. I hear so many stories about it being unexpected. So I just would say, just start expecting that it's going to happen for you. And I think the other thing that I do to stay hopeful in today's culture, dating culture, is I just thank God in advance for the man of God that He has for me because I know that it is on the way.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. What about you?
I love that. I love the part about the mindset
Mm-hmm.
because for me, I'm tired. And I recognize that a lot of times I'm cynical about it. And I think in today's culture, everyone's always like, oh, the dating pool has got pee in it. Like, it do, but don't say that. Like, don't
Right.
speak that if you know that you really believe that there's somebody for you, if you have that desire in your heart.
Yeah.
It's been so sometimes where I remember it being so discouraged about it one time that I was trying to convince myself that I was okay with not having that it wasn't meant for me to be married or to have children. Like and I was like, but that's not what I want. So why am I trying to convince myself that I'm
Right.
okay with that when I'm not? And
Yeah.
it was just kind of like the fear thing because inside I was like, this ain't never gonna happen. And I'm like, well, you gotta change your thinking.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that. So a lot of times If I'll see like a couple or something, I don't even know them on social media, but if it triggers something in me, I'll get off of social media because I'm like, I know this is what I want. And like I mentioned before, always showing up to people's weddings, being people's maid of honors, being sending people baby gifts and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's all in my face. And I'm like, maybe instead of being cynical about it, be positive about it. Like God is showing you like this is still possible for you. And so it's all about the timing for me. So just staying away from being cynical, because if I'm cynical, then
Yeah.
it's not gonna be a positive result for me. So that would be how I stay hopeful, is just change my thinking, my mindset,
Mhm.
continue to have faith about it. God knows I done talked his ear off. And there's been plenty of times where I've been wrong about a person and he
Yeah.
slapped me on my neck with his sandal and like that ain't it.
'Cause
And
he will.
I'm grateful for that. I
Yeah.
really am. Now I can say I'm grateful for that. So yeah, that's what
I love that, friend.
Yay! So let us know your dating experiences in the comments. We want to know. So like, share, subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And we'll see you right here next time. Thanks, y'all. Bye.